Today I'm going to explain how you can format your cookbook in 5 steps. So by the end it will look freaking delicious. So let's get the ball rolling. Hey there ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a great video. I'm going to explain how you can format your cookbook for Kindle in 5 freaking hot steps. Okay, this is great. This is part 5 from this series where I explain everything that you need to know so you can publish your first cookbook. So if you haven't checked my other videos, you should do it because they are great. And I will leave the links right below in the description from this video so you can do that. And also along my video you can see that small eye on the left side of my screen, I think, and you can click it and you can see the listing from the other videos belonging to this series of related to cookbooks. Okay, I got a bit confusing over there. Anyway, if you still haven't liked this video, you should go right below, click on that thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel, of course, so you can receive more of these videos on a weekly basis full of great content related to Kindle publishing and several ways for you to make money online. And also, if you haven't checked my website, here it is. It looks great. It looks fantastic. There's a lot of content here that you can read and so on about Kindle publishing, and you should check it. Also, make sure to get my free guide where I explain how you can publish a book that will generate $300 to $800 per month in Kindle. I explain the strategies. Anyway, let's get the ball rolling. Let's talk about how you can format your cookbook. Okay, a cookbook is basically, the formatting is the same as for any other Kindle book. There are a few things that you need to have in place. The first one is a test editor. It can be this one. This is WPS Office. It's free. You can search on Google for it and just download it, install it on your computer for free. It's not a big deal. It's free. I like that. And if you don't want to use this, you can always, if you already have Microsoft Word, you can use it and follow along this guide. The features or the options are quite similar to this software over here. So I guess if you follow this guide, you can kind of get things in place. Okay, when it comes to formatting your book, there's just a few things that changes when it comes to a cookbook, and that is with images, because well, when it comes to a cookbook, you should add images to your cookbook, of course. Otherwise, people read your content and they don't see an image for a recipe, and it's not great, and you probably will have some customers just leaving negative reviews. It happens if you don't have images. Now, of course, getting images, I always say this is one of the things I don't like about cookbooks. I mean, they sell really well when it comes to paperbacks, but getting images for each recipe, and sometimes you may have 40, 50 recipes, is a freaking pain in the ass. Okay, it's hard. And sometimes it's a very time-consuming process. You may take like an hour or two just to get your cookbook done, or more. Really depends. So the way that I'm going to format my book, it's not like your cookbook is not like going to look similar to a book that belongs to an author. You can do that. I already saw people doing their cookbooks inside I think it's a program similar to Photoshop, or it's Photoshop or something like that, and they make their cookbook look like a book that belongs to an author. And I'm actually going to learn how to do that because I would like to have a cookbook similar to that. But the thing that I'm going to talk about here is a really simple way for you to format your cookbooks, and they still will sell very well, because I did a lot of money with cookbooks, so I know that this formatting is simple and it's effective. Okay, so the first step is really your front page, which is this one. So if you order your book from a ghostwriter team such as Urban Raiders, that's the one that I recommend. And if actually you use their service, just use the discount coupon that I have so you can get 5% discount on your books. Anyway, if you receive the book from a ghostwriter team, then it kind of comes formatted for Kindle. But there's a few things that you may need to do. So let's clean over here our front page, which is this one. So this should be your title. Okay, so the main title or the main keyword of your book. So actually I'm going to change this a bit. I'm going to clean this a bit because, you know, sometimes when it comes to the formatting that your ghostwriters leave, they leave a lot of unnecessary how you call this, punctuation marks or whatever. And actually, if you don't see this marks, just go to the home tab and click over here and show hide paragraph marks. So once I click on this, you can see these are the paragraph marks that appear. And you want to clean your file. You don't want to have so many enters. I clean over here a bit, and this is supposedly my subtitle and 50 easy recipes, quick easy recipes for you to lose weight in 20 days. Let's say this, to lose weight in 21 days. Let's say 21 days. I'm not sure 21 days is 3 weeks or something like that. So yeah, 21 days. I like that. Actually, this subtitle is kind of effective. So I'm just going to increase over here the title a bit. I want the title to look a bit larger. And actually, this is Cambridge. I'm going to change everything to Georgia over here. I like Georgia. And I'm going to increase the title of my book a bit. This is like this. Okay, this looks better. And I'm going to, I don't like italic in this situation. I'm actually going to remove all of the italic. I don't like it. And I'm just going to make this bold. And probably just give over here, actually I have over here a spacing I just remove, as you can see. I don't want any unnecessary paragraph marks. Because once you actually pass this to Amazon, if you have some paragraph marks, the formatting may look a bit awkward once you check your book preview, so you want to avoid that. Okay, this looks good. And then what you want to do is simply add the name of your author. Let's say Alan Roger. I don't know who is Alan Roger, but I guess it's someone. Actually, this is 26. I'm going to increase over here. So to 22, just like this. This is typically the way that I format my front page. The title is a bit larger, the font I mean, and over here this is the subtitle, and I like to put over here by the name of my author, or the pen name in this case. And also make sure to add a page break. For you to do that, you just, let's say you have something like this, because typically when it comes to ghostwriters, they like to have something like this. It's like they don't know how to add a page break, so they just add enters until they pass the content to the other page. So what you want to do is just go over here to where you have your author name, you go to insert, and you want to add a page break over here, page break, as you can see. Just like this, and then you clean all of the unnecessary enters that your ghostwriter had it. Okay, so this is step number 1, it's just to change your front page. Step number 2 is simply to clean your whole file from all of the garbage, unnecessary paragraph marks. And actually, I'm going to increase over here the copyrights a bit. Okay. Actually, if you are wondering, the font family, and actually, I'm going to talk about that next, but let's just go over here, and I'm going to increase this a bit to 14. Let's say 14. Just make it a bit, okay, like this. So you want to go, and you can see this is where the table of content will be. This actually has a page break. I'm going to remove this enter because it's not needed. I'm going to remove, and I'm going to make this a heading 1 for my table of content, which later on I'm going to explain how you can do this. And actually I'm going to add over here a page break. Once you want to pass the content to another page, this can be, for example, when a chapter ends or something like that, you want to always add a page break. In this case, it's a table of content, and then the introduction starts in my next page. So I'm going to add a page break over here. I'm going to add an enter because later on I want to add a table of content here over here. And I'm going to clean this, and I'm going to add over here a heading 1. Okay, now what you want to go is, this file is already kind of clean because I already did this before, but what you want to do is simply go and check your headings, see if everything is right. So when you start a new chapter, in this case this is introduction, it should always start with the heading 1. Then all of the content or the titles inside of the topics inside of that chapter should be heading 2. Okay, just like this. Actually, I don't like this heading over here. It seems to be giving a lot of space. It looks awkward. So I go to Modified Styles and go to Paragraph, and actually I'm going to decrease over here. You can see that you have 1.5 lines, and I'm just going to put over here single, and let's just add this to template. And let's see how this changes everything. Do you want to change the default settings for style? Yes, I do. Okay, actually remove a bit spacing over here, but it still is a bit way too much for my taste. So I'm going once again to Paragraph, and I'm going to remove over here the after spacing and just do this like that, and add to template, and yes again. Okay, now it looks better. So basically you want to play around with your headings, and you get to modify, and you can go over here once again to Paragraph, and I'm just going to increase a bit on before and just rinse and repeat. So do everything until you have the headings the way that you want. Then you go, and sometimes what happens is you will notice stuff like this, okay? Like a lot of spacings, a lot of enters, and what you need to do is simply clean this, okay? Simply clean this until it looks just exactly like this. And actually this is heading 2, this is in a heading 3, and also once again the same problem. So I'm going to go to heading 3, and actually I'm going to format, and I'm going to Paragraph once again, and I'm going to decrease over here after to 18 and before to 20. And I'm going to add, as you can see, this wasn't double, it's giving double lining or spacing. So I'm just going to pass this to single and add to template and just change it. Now it looks a bit better. Okay, so this is what you want to do. You want to clean your file, you want to take a look at each heading, and you want to change the spacing if you see that things just have way too much spacing. And let's actually go, and basically that's what you want to do. You go, you see stuff like this, you clean it, okay, and yeah. And sometimes what you will have is something like this, okay. You have the, okay, this is the ending of the introduction or something like that, and then you have chapter 1, but what they did is they pass everything to the next page with all of these centers. And what you want to do is just clean all the centers, and then once you are here, you just want to add over here a new page break, just like this. This is what you want to do. You always want to make sure if all of the headings are right, because this is important later on once you do your table of content. And that's what you do. You just go through your file, you clean the spacing, you clean anything that, any unnecessary paragraph marks in your file, until everything is clean and looks great and looks amazing. As you can see over here, an enter that is unnecessary, an enter that is unnecessary, and I'm going to make this an heading 1, and just like this, okay. And actually you can see over here, not a big deal. Okay, this is what you want to do. Just clean everything until it looks great. Now when it comes to found family, I like to use it. I mean, it's not that important like some people like to make it out. And this is step number 3 actually. The found family is not something that important like a lot of people try to make out. Just use a found family that is simple to read, okay? Something that is readable. I like to use Georgia. I also like to use, it can be Georgia. Arial is also a pretty good font, and Times New Roman. Cambria also looks a great font, and basically this is the fonts that I use. You won't run into any kind of copyright problems if you use these fonts. Okay, so don't worry about that. When it comes to font size, I like to use 12 pixels or 14 pixels, okay? That is the size that I use for my font, and that's the only thing that you need to know about fonts. Now let's go to step number 4, which is to add images. Okay, so let's go over here to a recipe, and we have a few recipes over here. You can see that actually I don't have an image over here for tasty carrot muffins. So what you're gonna do when it comes to images, you may want to go to Google. Actually, let's go to Google, and for some reason this crap is not opening. You can go to Pixabay, so that's the first website you can go. And actually, if you probably didn't notice, but I just selected this title over here, copy it, and paste it over here. Tasty carrot muffins, and see what we get. Okay, sometimes it may be a pain in the ass for you to find recipes that are good, okay, or at least images that resemble your recipe. You want to, what I typically do is I read the recipe, see the ingredients that I have in this recipe, so I can find something similar. Over here, for example, let's say that you have a recipe that includes tomatoes in the dish, and then you get a photo without tomatoes in that dish. Like, let's say that it has a tomato sauce, and then you get an image of something that doesn't have tomato sauce. It doesn't make sense. You really need to pay attention to those little details, and that's why I say that getting images for a cookbook can be a freaking pain in the ass. And I've done this for a lot of books, and I can tell you that it's a pain in the ass. Actually, I think all of these images are from iStock, yeah, which is a problem. So, but actually, let's remove over Tasty. Probably that's the reason why I'm not getting any images. This one looks good. This one looks pretty decent. Let's just change over her carrot muffin and see if we get more options. And sometimes you can go also to dupe stock. Okay. This is advertising. Let's go over here, and you can actually get your first. Once you do an account, you can get 10 free images, and later on, if you like to use their service, you can actually get a monthly membership. So let's say this is carrot muffin. Let's go over here, see what we get, and you can see that you get a lot of splendid images over here, and you won't run into copyright problems. And last case, this is something that I don't recommend for you to do, but I can't say that I never done it. And if I like to be honest with people when it comes to this. When it comes to your book cover, never ever use copyright images. You will run into problems eventually. May not be with your first book or your second book, but eventually you will run into problems with copyrights. Now, when it comes to inside of your book, I don't recommend for you to do this for all of your recipes, okay? And I mean, if you do this, it's up to you. I'm not responsible for this. I already warned you. But you can go sometimes to Google and see what you get over here, and you can use one of these images inside of your book. Don't use this for a cover. You have been warned. If you get into problems, don't come to me. Okay, be careful with this. Don't do this for all of your recipes. Okay, mix things around. Sometimes, I mean, your readers won't probably complain, but let's say that you have a competitor and your book is selling really well, and one of your competitors just kind of wants to crush your book and get all of the sales for himself. So you may actually purchase your book and try to see if there's copyrighted images in your book, and once that person finds it, they will send a message to Amazon, and you may run into problems. That may happen, so be careful with this, especially when you have a book selling well. People might do that. Okay, so I'm just going to use one of these images from Pixabay. I like this image. It's pretty decent, and I'm going to do a free download, and I'm going to show to you how you can do this. So I'm going to download this taxi, this over here, no taxi. Okay, and download. Okay, now there's, when it comes to images, I use Photoshop. You can use, for example, canva.com. It's free, and you can I'm not sure if you can use the same options the way that I'm going to do over here, but I'm just going to open my image. You can try canva.com if you want, and I'm going to click over on this layer to unlock, so I can pretty much change it. And actually it seems to be kind of, I'm not sure. I'm going to vibrance, and I'm going to reduce a bit over. It seems way too colorful, or it's saturation actually. I'm going to remove a bit. Okay, now when it comes to images, you want to immediately save as 300 resolution. Typically when you download an image, it will have 72 dpi or DPI or DPE. DPI? I think it's DPI. Okay, and you want to save it as 300 resolution. So you can go over here to Photoshop, and this is something that I'm not sure if you can do with Canva, but there's also another free alternative to Photoshop that you can use. It's pretty similar to Photoshop. I don't remember the name, but you can use it. It's like Photoshop, but you need to use on your browser. Totally forgot the name, and it's pretty similar to this. But what you want to do is simply, if you have over here like 72, which typically you will have, you want to go over here and pass it to 300 DPI. And the reason why you want to do this is because once you pass your book to paperback, you won't run into problems. Okay, so that's why you want to do that. And actually I'm going to decrease the size a bit. I'm not sure if this image will look the same as this one's, because I'm not sure about the size that I use over here. I'm not sure if I can check it over here. Let me see. This is in inches. It's not in pixels, so yeah, I'm not sure. I cannot see it in pixels, so I'm not sure, but I can actually use it in inches, so I can have the same size. So let's go over here and let's change this to inches, and let's go over here, inches. This is at the height, and let's change the height over here to 304. But I think this is not going to exactly, yeah, width. Actually, the width is the problem over here. So 747 over here, and just like this. And I think the problem is I need to cut this so it can kind of get a similar size over here. So I just use the rectangle tool, select the area that I want, go to image and crop it. so I can have something like this. So yeah, the width is the problem. Okay, I'm not going to waste much time with it. Basically what you want to use, you want to have a standard size for all of your images. And actually I'm going to pass this to pixels so you can more easily see this. Okay, this is the width that I'm using. I think this is way too big at the moment, but the most important thing is just to leave it at 300 dpi resolution. So once you pass your Kindle book to paperback, you won't run into problems, because this resolution is needed for Amazon to print your book with images with a decent quality. Okay, so that's the reason why you should pass your images to 300 dpi. Okay, so I'm just going to save this image, and I'm going to show to you how you can pass this to your book. I'm going to save this to GPE. Not sure. I'm just going to take it to very high, and I'm going to save this over here into the right file where it is. Cookbook, no, not this one. Okay, not this. Okay, I'm just going to save over here. Not a big deal. And the carrot cake. Okay, so I'm going over here to the right section, which is this one. I'm going to give a space where I'm going to have my image. I'm going to images, and I'm going to insert picture, and from file, and I'm going to get the right image that I need for this, and I'm going to Cookbook or Cook outline, and I'm going to upload this image. Okay, just like that. Actually, I'm going to remove this space, this enter, it's not needed. Okay, so this is what you want to do. You want to go to each recipe and add an image, just like how I did over here. And basically this is a very basic cookbook. It's nothing fancy. Okay, it's nothing fancy like a cookbook that belongs to an author. You can also do that. It's more complicated. As I already said, I'm going to try that later on, but I guess the printing costs are going to be a lot more for that type of cookbook. But those cookbooks look awesome, and I'm pretty sure if I do a cookbook like that, it will sell really well. And yeah, this is kind of like how I do my cookbooks. It has a lot of recipes. Just to give you an idea, I'm just going to scroll down, and then in the end, I have a conclusion somewhere along the lines. I like to include a meal plan also, and basically that is what I do. Now, the other thing that you want to do is add a table of contents. So this is step number 5, is to just add a table of content. You go over here, and if you formatted everything right, then your table of content will look good. You go to references, and once you are here, you go to table of content, insert table of content, and I like just to show level 1. Okay, and I'm also going to remove, uncheck show page numbers. Okay, and I'm going to use hyperlinks, because this allows my readers to go to table of content. They see where they would like to read in my book. They just click that link and immediately go to that place. So I'm just going to press OK, and I'm going to remove this last thing over here. It's not needed. And this is my table of content. Now I'm just going to remove this header, which is the table of content. It's not needed. You want to read and see if all of the things are well included over here. And let's go over here to this one. Yeah, this looks good. Just like this. Now this is a really old cookbook that I did, and back in the days this used to do a lot of money. So that's what you want to do. It's not something so profitable nowadays. Okay. So after you've done this, after you had you clean everything, you had in your table of content, what you want to do is just save file. So you save file, and when it comes to save files, I like to save it as RTF or .rtf file. Not sure what that means, but I've noticed that this type of file just has less problems than when I actually save it as a .doc or .doc, not doc, whatever, as a Microsoft file. Okay, that is how you can actually format your Kindle cookbook. These are the 5 steps that I take with all of my cookbooks. If you enjoyed this video, just leave a like right below, subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you have questions about Kindle in general, doesn't need to be exactly about this video, leave it on the comment section right below. That is all for now. Stay tuned with Your Alexo, and bye.